record. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tracy and I will be your facilitator for the COVID-19 workshop. So you were all selected in terms of the questionnaire that we've done to measure the knowledge in terms of COVID-19 and how it affects our everyday lives. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about me. So as I mentioned, my name is Tracy. I'm an undergraduate student at Cape Peninsula University. I'm in my last year, and one of our assignments were to conduct a training needs analysis on COVID-19 to determine the impact it has in the organization and also to determine the level of knowledge that employees or individuals have. So I would like to open up the floor for us to introduce ourselves and just get acquainted with one another. So you can start. Anyone?
Hi, I'm Bernie. I'm just here to learn on what the workshop has to offer for me and how I can implement this in my daily life.
Thank you, Bernie. Thank you for sharing. Next.
Let's talk. Okay. Hi, my name is Maurice, and like Bernie said, I'm here to learn about COVID-19 and what I can say. I'm just here to learn about COVID-19.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Marco. I'm basically here just to get more information. I'm sorry?
I can't see you.
Hi, my name is Marco. I am here to get more information with regards to COVID-19 and basically just get more information on how to stay safe and how to not get COVID-19 and how COVID-19 is actually spread.
Okay. Great. Thank you, guys. So I have a PowerPoint displayed on your end. So we have about key points there. So we've done a brief introduction, and then we did some sort of icebreaker where we introduced ourselves, and then we're going to look at the objectives of the workshop as well as the rules of the workshop. I'm just waiting for, okay. All right, so the objectives of the workshop is basically for us to understand or have a understanding of what COVID-19 is. So we have a, it's so hot here, guys. I'm so sorry, the aircon's not working. So that's why I have a scarf on. Anyway, so the objectives of this workshop is to define what COVID-19 is in layman terms for the average Joe on the road, to understand what it is, what the implications are in our working lives and our broader community, and how we can, keep ourselves safe and our families, and how we can prevent spreading COVID-19, what the trends are in South Africa, what are the major ways of actually being infected with COVID-19 here in South Africa, and also looking at ways that we can alleviate COVID-19 in South Africa or in our communities and stay safe. So the rules of the workshop, like any other workshop, is for us to be open-minded, to listen, to understand, to give each and every person an opportunity to speak without interrupting them, being punctual in terms of breaks, and also just engaging and participating. So I don't want to be like a lecturer that's speaking for an hour in front of you and there's no give and take type of interaction. So that's basically it in a nutshell. The next slide here. So these are the topics that we will be covering. So what is COVID-19? Stages and symptoms of COVID-19, main types of COVID-19 transmissions, ways to prevent it, what to do if you're infected, and the COVID-19 treatment. So before we go into all of those topics, I would like to ask you what do you understand by what is COVID? What is COVID-19 in your own words? So anyone can.
So what I would say, it is obviously a transmittable disease that is basically that transpire among people, So it can either be in a form of touch, sputum, direct contact with a person that is already transmitted the disease, or that's been infected by it. And yeah, it's basically your upgrade to influenza, I would say. And with that being said, I think the whole COVID-19 pandemic situation has made people just so much more aware of how to engage with one another from a hygiene, where your social distancing is involved, and also just being mindful of your surroundings and people space in itself. Yeah, that's just my take on it.
I agree with you 100%, Bernie. The summary was amazing. I agree with you. Marco!
Marco, are you there?
Okay. I'm here. Yes, I'm here. Okay, so COVID-19. My understanding of COVID-19 is that it forms part of a collective viral infection. I think it falls under SARS. I might be speaking under correction. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it's basically a virus that can be transmitted by touch, via physical contact, and the only thing that can basically kill or destroy this virus is a very strong sanitizer or even chick. Um,
Okay.
as far as I know, it affects your respiratory system. So
Yeah.
it attacks the lungs basically, and then you have difficulty breathing. And then people most susceptible to this type of virus is the either the elderly or people with comorbidities such as chronic illnesses like asthma or pre-existing lung conditions, and then also people with diabetes. So yeah, in a nutshell, I think this virus is quite of a nuisance, and like Bernie said, just to echo, yeah, it does form part of the influenza, I believe. Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Maurice.
As I speak, yeah, to touch on what Marco said, yeah, COVID-19, it's part of the influenza family, but it is a bit more effective in terms of the symptoms are more mild than like a normal flu. For example, the body aches, the headaches. The flu symptoms are much more intense than a normal flu, and there are more added symptoms like the diarrhea, and that which is a bit painful in my own personal experience. So yeah, it is a much more severe type of flu, which can be treated if you do obey the protocols like social distancing, sanitizing, wearing of mask, and all of it. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Okay, thank you so much. Maurice. Is it Maurice?
Yes.
Thank you so much for your from those definitions, I can gather that most of you, or all of you rather, have some sort of idea of what COVID-19 is. So now I'm going to go to the slide where I have gathered information in terms of scientific information on what COVID-19 is. So basically what they are saying here is that coronaviruses are a large group of viruses that are common amongst animals. And these viruses can make people sick. Like you guys said, it can be mild to moderate, and it affects the upper respiratory tract illness. It's similar to flu. And then we also have new coronavirus called COVID-19. So a lot of people don't know that coronavirus has been around for decades, but it has evolved over time. So this is the latest coronavirus, COVID-19. So this COVID-19 was identified in China, in Wuhan. I think they call it, or the name, I stand under, I'm saying it under correction. What is this? And is associated with an outbreak of viral pneumonia. So when the outbreak happened initially, a lot of people had pneumonia. They didn't know it was COVID. And with testing, it was determined that it is actually COVID-19. So as they say here, it's a new infectious disease. And it was, okay, so we said that it was discovered and before the outbreak in Wuhan in China in December 2019. So you basically said everything there is to know about it. Like you have, a good understanding on what it is. So the second topic is stages and symptoms of COVID. So you don't have to give like an in detail description of what you understand. Maybe just a brief um, outline on what do you think the stages are and the symptoms of COVID-19 are. Do you understanding what the stages are? Like for instance, do you first get the flu and then your head aches and then your body aches and then that happen, or is it just a full blown, I'm sick, I'm COVID, I'm infectious now, I'm gonna kill you. So
For me, I would say it starts off mild, like it would come across as a normal flu or a slight flu, and then obviously all the added on symptoms come, like the you don't have taste, the headaches, the body aches, the diarrhea, uh, the fact that you're struggling to breathe. Some people, from what I've seen, some people actually have to go on oxygen because it affects the respiratory system. So yeah, it is in stages. And with that being said, there's obviously, you need to be mindful in terms of if you are aware you are sick, then isolate, or at least make people aware around you. Look, guys, I am sick, so I do think I'm just going to keep my distance for a while. Not just for other people's safety, but I think also just as being a decent human being, it isn't something to be ashamed of. Everyone gets sick, some people are fortunate enough not to get sick at all, but if they do, then I can only just imagine how severe it might be. So that is my take on the symptomatic process of how it actually transpires.
thank you.
Yeah. Are you guys still
Okay,
in the house?
yeah, we're still here. We muted on our side because it gives off an echo, man. Okay, my take on this is there's a few stages. One would be when you actually get infected via touch or via sharing a cup or whatever, physical contact, sneezing, coughing, that type of thing, not wearing a mask. So that's the first stage, which would be infection. Then the next stage will be incubation, where the virus is starting to attack your immune system, and then I believe the next stage would be that you are starting to get those symptoms. Like, I don't think there's any particular order in which the symptoms take place, but that's your coughing, your struggling to breathe, your headaches, your diarrhea, and then it's similar to. So um, it can be confused with flu, but then you get you're not able to smell, you can't taste. I think that's the added on symptoms that you have when it comes to COVID-19. And then the whole, I don't know what the whole time period is or the time span is from infection to incubation, from incubation to actually being sick. But I think the whole thing probably lasts about 2 to 4 weeks, depending on your immune system, depending on how healthy you are, I guess. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, to agree what Marco said. Yeah, it all starts with the person getting the infection and then the incubation period. And I can only speak from experience. From what I saw, it started with the symptoms that I started was with the throat, and then it came into a flu. But luckily, I couldn't smell, but I could taste at least. But then all other stuff happened, like um, diarrhea and all of that. But like I said, like Marco said, it can last up to 2 weeks or it can last up to 4 weeks. Luckily for me, it didn't last that long. But so yeah, that is the stages. It's the infection period, the incubation, and then the symptoms. So yeah,
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so
I don't like going last because I run out of answers,
go
my
to
brother.
the next slide.
Don't say.
I'm just a bit concerned because it's showing me here that the remaining meeting time is 8 minutes and 27 seconds. So I'm not sure if this is going to stop.
There should be an option for you to increase the time on the meeting under your settings.
Um, Sorry guys.